Anyway, Nick Namalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I'm going to be talking about my last book haul of 2024. But yeah, I have some books to haul before we get into the 2025 year, so I figured let's do that real quick. See, this is kind of just random because they're just going to randomly put on my stuff here. I'm just going to dive right into it. First one is Robin Wall Kimmerer's latest release. I have already read it. I wanted to read it before 2025. I actually had wanted to read it in November, but I got it done in December. So, which you'll hear more about that in my wrap up, hopefully. But that is The Service Berry, Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World. It's smaller than I expected. Still really enjoy the cover. I tabbed it up like no one's business. Yeah. And basically, let me just give you a synopsis so I'm not spoiling anything. As Indigenous scientist Robin Wall Kimmerer harvests service berries alongside the birds, she considers the ethic of reciprocity that lies at the heart of the gift economy. How she asks, can we learn from Indigenous wisdom in the plant world to reimagine what we value most? Our economy is rooted in scarcity, competition, and the hoarding of resources. And we have surrendered our values to a system that actively harms what we love. Meanwhile, the service berry's relationship with the natural world is an embodiment of interconnectedness and gratitude. The tree distributes its wealth, its abundance of sweet, juicy berries, to meet the needs of its natural community. And this distribution ensures its own survival. As Kimmerer explains, service berries show us another model, one based on reciprocity rather than accumulation, where wealth and security come from the quality of our relationships, not the illusion of self-sufficiency. I thought it, yeah. Like I said, you'll hear more about my thoughts in my wrap-up. Hopefully, I am going back and forth if I really want to put it as its own review video. I can't remember if I hauled this one or not. I'm just going to go ahead and haul it now, though. And that is Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Tricia Hershey. This is she's the founder of the NEP Ministry. I had to read this for a class I took over fall semester. I didn't have to read it, actually. It was a recommended read, but I did read it. I actually ended up, I tabbed it up a little bit, but I actually had wanted to, delve deeper and listen to it as I was physically reading it so I could take notes. But yeah, it was interesting. What would it be like to live in a well-rested world? Far too many of us have claimed productivity as the cornerstone of success. Brainwashed by capitalism, we subject our bodies and minds to work of an unrealistic, damaging, and machine-level pace, feeding into the same engine that enslaved millions into brutal labor for its own relentless benefit. In Rest is Resistance, Tricia Hershey, aka the Nat Bishop, casts an illuminating light on our troubled relationship with rest and shows us how to imagine and dream our way to a future where rest is exalted. Our worth does not reside in how much we produce, especially not for a system that exploits and dehumanizes us. Rest, in its simplest form, becomes an act of resistance and a reclaiming of power because it asserts our most basic humanity. We are enough. This system cannot have us. So, yeah. I read that in November, which I'm hoping to get a November wrap-up here shortly. So hopefully, maybe it's already up before this. Who knows? You'll hear my thoughts on it soon. And then the other one that I read, I started diving into just as soon as I got it, and that is The Kamigawa Food Detectives by Hisashi Kashiwai. Yeah, this is the UK cover, and basically a collection of sorts. What's the one dish you'd do anything to taste just one more time? Down in a quiet back street in Kyoto exists a very special restaurant called the Kamigawa Diner. Customers who can find the hidden establishment are treated to an extravagant meal, but it's not the main reason for visiting. The father-daughter duo who own the restaurant have started advertising their services as food detectives, capable of recreating a dish from their customers' past that may well hold the key to unlocking forgotten memories and ongoing happiness. So, yeah. I've been wanting to read it for a while. I got it, this in the last couple months and just devoured it. The next one I got as an ARC. Yeah, from the publisher, Pantheon. And that is Medicine River, A Story of Survival and the Legacy of Indian Boarding Schools by Mary Annette Pember. Very striking cover. Thank you so much to Pantheon for reaching out to me. This one comes out April 22nd of 2025. A sweeping and timely personal history of Native American boarding schools in the United States and the legacy of abuse wrought by systemic attempts to use education as a tool to destroy Native culture. From the mid-19th century to the late 1930s, tens of thousands of Native children were pulled from their tribal homes to attend boarding schools whose stated benevolent aim was to save them by way of assimilation into American life. In reality, boarding schools sponsored by the U.S. government, but often run by various religious orders with little to no regulations, were a calculated attempt to dismantle tribes by pulling apart Native families. Children were beaten for speaking their native languages, denied food, clothing, and comfort, and forced to work menial jobs in terrible conditions, all while utterly deprived of love and affection. Ojibwe journalist Mary Pember's mother was forced to attend one of these institutions in northern Wisconsin. The impacts of her experience cast a pall over Pember's own childhood and her relationship with her mother, highlighting both her mother's experience and the experiences of countless other students at such schools, their families, and their children. Medicine River paints a stark portrait of communities still reckoning with the legacy of I haven't heard this word before, acculturation and abuse that has affected generations of Native families. Through searing interviews and a careful reporting, Pember traces the evolution and continued rebirth of cultures whose country has been seemingly intent on eradicating them. So, interestingly enough, Pantheon reached out to me for that just shortly after, and I don't think they knew this because I haven't posted it anywhere, because YouTube isn't the only one that I have been absent from. I've been absent from my Instagram as well. Partly, in part, and like, I know I keep apologizing for it, but I really am not that sorry, particularly after reading Rest is Resistance and just like being in a master's program and living my life and having my life. So I've always said that like this is more of a hobby. So, and I have a lot of hobbies. So unfortunately, YouTube was just one of the ones that fell to the wayside, mostly because I don't like video editing. So, but I'm too controlling and want some stuff a particular way to really hire it out to someone else. Also, I'm broke. So, yeah. But yeah, Council of Dolls by Mona Susan Power. I had read this one, so these two kind of go hand in hand in a way. So I also hope to have I do hope to have a review video for this one soon, but this one, I know Mona Susan Power is actually like well known, supposedly. I haven't heard of her, but that does not say much. But basically, this is a profoundly moving novel from PEN Award-winning author Mona Susan Power, spanning 3 generations of Yanktonai Dakota women from the 19th century to the present day. Sissy, born 1961. Sissy's relationship with her volatile mother is difficult, even dangerous, but her life is filled with beautiful things, including a doll called Ethel. Ethel whispers advice and kindness in Sissy's ear, and in one especially terrifying moment may even save Sissy's life. Lillian, born 1925, born in her ancestral lands in a time of terrible challenge, Lillian clings to her sister Blanche and her doll May. The sisters are forced to attend an Indian boarding school far from their home, and Blanche refuses to be cowed by the school's abusive nuns. But then tragedy strikes. May finds her way to defend the girls. Cora, born 1888, born into a brutal legacy of the Indian Wars. Cora isn't afraid of the white men who remove her to a school to be civilized. When teachers burn her beloved beaded buckskin doll, Winona, Cora discovers that the spirit of Winona may not be entirely lost. So, yeah. it's been out, I think, for a little bit. It was actually one that a coworker had requested that our library get, which they did, and she kept kind of like, she knows not to like persistently ask if I've read something, because then it just pushes me further away from it. But I did end up listening to this, I think through Spotify, and enjoyed it so much that I needed a physical copy. So hopefully I'll have a review up for you soon-ish. Next is a cookbook, and we'll see. I'm a little disappointed in it, but we'll see. I haven't actually, just based on like how it came to me, not how it came to me, but like, I don't know. I always kind of expect more from cookbooks in a way. But I have this mushroom cookbook, and easy mushroom cookbook with delicious mushroom recipes. I don't know who it's by. Booksumo Press is a publisher of unique, easy, and healthy cookbooks. Our cookbooks span all topics and all subjects. If you want a deep dive into possibilities of cooking with any type of ingredients, then Booksumo Press is your place to go. So I'm getting a little more into mushrooms. There's Brad has a coworker that is an active mushroom harvester of sorts, and is actually trying to actively find a way to grow mushrooms and sell them for himself. So he's constantly gifting us. Like, we just cooked with chanterelles not too long ago, and I've never cooked with them before, and I feel like no matter what, just sauteing them in butter is like the easiest way to go, but I like to get more experimental with them. Next I have Beast Boy Loves Raven, the Teen Titans graphic novel. This is the third one, I believe, by Cami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo. Not much else to say about it. It's a graphic novel series. I love the Gabriel Piccolo's rendition of the Teen Titans. So, and Cami Garcia's, so far the story is interesting. I don't remember a whole lot so far. I mean, I read Raven, I read Beast Boy, so we'll see how this one goes, and maybe I'll end up getting Robin here eventually. I love Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go. I want to make that very clear. Not Teen Titans Go, but Teen Titans. So next I have Akata Woman. I have already read this one as well, but finally got the paperback edition to complete the collection. I don't see the other two. But yeah, I want to do a reread of these at some point. I think that would be really cool, because I do want to do like a completed series review of them, because I don't see enough people talking about them. I thought they were really cool. But yeah, I had to wait like a year and a half for the paperback to come out, because of course, like, Akata Woman originally came out as a hardback, and neither of the other two did, so I had to wait. So I finally got that, and my collection is complete for that trilogy. Next, I have In Defense of Plants, an exploration into the wonder of plants by Matt Candias. This looked like a really cool cover. I think it was one I found on bookshop.org. And basically, I've just been... That font is tiny. That is like less than 10 points. Oh my goodness. I don't even... Oh, let's see. And his Explore the Memorizing World of Plants, and his debut book, internationally recognized blogger and podcaster Matt Candias explores the curious nature of plants, revealing surprising and humorous things about their ruthless, horny, or simply cunning behavior. It actually says horny. Okay. Using gardening, propagating houseplants, and other examples around you, In Defense of Plants will open your eyes to their hidden world. You will never see plants as just decor again. In this easily accessible introduction to the world of plants, you'll find fantastic botanical histories, evolution, and plant symbolism, tales of fascinating botanical discoveries, curious facts on how ecosystems work together, how plants have sex, and more. So this sounds like a kind of introductory into plants, which I'm okay with. It's kind of a thick one. It's still under 300 pages. But ultimately I'm just curious about it, mostly because my master's project has to do with plants. So I just wanted to get to know them a bit more, really, considering I failed botany twice. So this is my way around it. In the similar vein, I have Good Seeds, a Menominee Indian Food Memoir by Thomas Pecora Wesso. So along with wanting to get to know plants more, I also want to make sure I'm getting to know them more through Indigenous perspectives as well, just because there's only so much I feel like I can learn from a Western point of view, where a plant is just a plant and not a more than human relative. So to the Menominee Indians, the good seeds of life are the monomin, or wild rice, that also gives the tribe its name. In this unique food memoir, tribal member Thomas Pecora Wesso takes readers on a cook's journey through Wisconsin northern woods. With a rare perspective as a Native American anthropologist and artist, Wesso mixes a poignant personal story with the seeds of Menominee cooking traditions. He tells stories that connect each food, beaver, trout, blackberry, wild rice, maple sugar, partridge, with colorful individuals who taught him Indigenous values. Wesso's grandfather, Moon, was a medicine man. His morning prayers, the foundation for all the day's meals. His grandmother, Jenny, made fire each morning in a wood-burning stove and oversaw huge breakfasts of wild game fish and fruit pies. His uncle taught him to hunt bear, deer, squirrels, raccoons, and skunks for the daily larder. Along with authentic family recipes, Wesso recalls a favorite food served in the Menominee Fair at local diners, and shares stories about reservation life in the mid 20th century when many elders practiced the old ways. So I think this will be really nice. I think it'll be really fun. I am particularly if you're new, I do really enjoy books featuring food, and plants. And I think an Indigenous perspective on both would be really great, mostly because I don't think we have too much of that around here locally. So, I mean, I would love to be able to change that, but I would like to see how others are doing it. So, next, in a completely different direction, we have The Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I have been seeing this everywhere, particularly when its sequel was coming out, and I'm very curious about it. I've heard mixed things, but so far I haven't been able to spoil it myself. From my understanding, it's two serial killers falling in love. Every serial killer needs a friend. Every game must have a winner. When a chance encounter sparks an unlikely bond between rival murderers Sloane and Rowan, they find themselves something elusive, the friendship of two like-minded pitch-black souls who just happen to enjoy killing other serial killers. That's all I need to know. So, I finally got it. I think I got this from Patreon, not Patreon, Pango, there we go. So this one and my next one I got from Pango. I'm currently offline for Pango because I'm doing some cleaning, and there's been books on there that's been on there for too long, and I've just put them in a crate and I'm ready to go take them to my local thrift store or a little free library and just let them free. So, yes. That I got from Pango was Shean Lind, the prequel to A Lot's Away by Darcy Little Badger. I had not received this yet, and I had, I think, multiple. This is hefty, actually. Yeah, this is the prequel. I loved A Lot's Away. It's still one of my favorite books, and I'm very curious about this one in particular. I had, yeah, like I said, a couple opportunities to get this book and just didn't for some reason. It never really worked out, so it's like I had missed opportunities, I guess. One particular, I ended up going to ALA. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. I wanted to do a vlog and that just didn't happen. And met Darcy Little Badger, and she signed my copy of A Lot's Away that I received when I received a finished copy. Did I receive a finished copy? No. Yeah, no. It was my first arc, but I didn't receive a finished copy. I bought a finished copy of A Lot's Away and had her sign it, and she even noted that it was one of the first editions. So, yeah. But they had run out of Shean Lind. I have this. I finally have this. Next, I have Erosion, American Environments and the Anxiety of Disappearance by Gina Kaysen. Gina Kaysen actually did a talk at the university I work at for our Native American Studies department. They have a decolonizing sustainability speaker series, I think every semester. I want to say. And Gina Kaysen came and talked and signed about Erosion, which was coming out in a couple of weeks. And basically it's this, I'm trying to remember what her talk was about, because she goes into this book and basically how she kind of starts criticizing society and how we're afraid of like this anxiety of disappearance, right? And so there's like, she compares it to a lot of things like in California that like, you know, beachfront houses, and how people are like so stressed and struggling about natural erosion, something that like naturally occurs, and how like, you know, the indigenous people of California knew not to build their homes there for a reason, and how like society is now trying to like make sure that these cliff sides and these beachside homes don't erode or go away. But she also talks about like horizon lines, what she's deemed a horizon line in terms of like, you know, Octavia Butler, there's only like so far you can go in terms of like, you know, people think like Octavia Butler is like this like world-renowned author, but even in her book The Parable of the Sower, she ends up having these like this group of people who are in this post-apocalyptic world like surviving on acorns and making note of like, oh, this is what the indigenous people did, but never speak about what happened to the indigenous people who lived in California. So I don't know, it's interesting. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I ended up getting her book. I actually won it in a raffle, so that was cool, and she was like super excited to go see like my murals, so that was really cool, because Native American, the department chair was going to go take her around to go see the murals in the area, and of which I've done too, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, still wrapping my head around it. I also got one to donate to, because she's not Indigenous, but as well, she's written another book as well, and that was her thesis or dissertation or something. But neither this book or her dissertation, when you buy them, she doesn't get the proceeds. She has them forwarded to, with this one in particular, she has it forwarded to the Food Sovereignty Lab that our Native American Studies department has, as well as going to a local Indigenous tribe in her area, which I believe she's in Georgia. So, but Evernight, in my Evernight Illumicrate for October, is an Academy for Liars. I don't mind this copy, but I do prefer the original. Like I said, I don't mind this. Actually, the elevator thing is pretty cool. But I think this is too busy. I think it's way too freaking busy. And the fact that it continues to the pages, there's no break from the busyness. So it's just kind of like, it's not great in my opinion. So I know I want to read Academy for Liars. I think everyone, I don't know if everyone's read it. I doubt it. But I know it was Kayla from Books and Lala's, one of her book club reads. Lennon Carter's life is falling apart until she gets a mysterious phone call inviting her to sit the entrance exam for somewhere very few have heard of. Hidden in a secret pocket of Savannah, this is also Georgia, it's a place called Drayton College, and it's a school of magic. Lennon has been chosen because, like everyone else at the school, she is special. She possesses the innate gift of persuasion, the ability to wield her will like a weapon and to use it to control others, and in rare cases, matter itself. After passing the grueling exam, Lennon now needs to learn how to master this devastating power. While persuasion takes a heavy toll on her body and her mind, she is captivated by all that surrounds her. Her studies, the college's lush, moss-draped campus, her brilliant classmates, but most of all, by Dante, the charismatic advisor who both intimidates and intrigues her. So I know that my library has a copy of this as well, so I may end up just borrowing that one rather than, that's the other thing, like the dust jacket's like a little too big for it. Like I can feel like there's like a poof. So I made this read my library copy just so I'm not ruining that one. These three I was so enthralled with and just had to get, mostly because it has The House with Good Bones. So they're all by T. Kingfisher. House of Good Bones is the one I have read, and it's just absolutely fucking gorgeous. This is another one I want to reread. I won't reread this copy. It's just not happening. But also intrigues me to read the other ones that I also have from her. The Hollow Places. And The Twisted Ones. And then I think, yeah, each of them have like great naked hardcovers. They're just freaking gorgeous. So I was excited to get those. And I also got the UK edition of Foxglove. This is the sequel to Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I hate the US covers. I do not like them at all. They feel very just, I don't like them. I'm not the biggest fan of young adult anyway. I don't feel like this is quite young adult. It's kind of like new adult, but like the people on the covers with the women in the masks just make it feel even more YA to me. These covers are absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love them. So I got Belladonna in the UK cover as well. And so I had to get Foxglove. I absolutely love it. So, and Wisteria looks just as gorgeous. So I won't get that though until I finish Foxglove. Because I ultimately did like Belladonna. Which if you don't know, so I haven't really talked about any... So I'll talk about Belladonna, not Foxglove, since Foxglove is the sequel. But Belladonna is, we're following a girl who has an interesting relationship with death in terms of everyone that she goes to live with ends up dying. Like her parents end up dying, so she gets pushed on to another family member who ends up dying. So she gets pushed on to another family member, and she slowly learns that she can call death to her by like getting into a life or death experience and talking to him. She doesn't particularly like him because he keeps killing off her family members, even though her family members are more interested in her wealth than her. But then finally she ends up going to this family that actually aren't that interested in her wealth because they're fairly wealthy. But when she gets there, she's learned that the wife has died recently, and the sister, the wife's daughter is on her like deathbed, and so she has to figure out this mystery of her new family before it's too late, essentially. And she gets like whisked off to another family member. So she gets help from an unexpected place, and ultimately it's like this murder-ish mystery with some paranormal elements. I didn't mind it. There was, like I said, I fairly enjoyed it. My one thing is that the main character, which I don't like her name actually, the main character's name, I can't remember what it is, but I remember not liking it. Let's see if I can, Signa, that's what it is, yep. But her relationship with death, it's like she learns something new about him, and by the end of the day she's like, oh, I kind of feel for him, like, all right. And she, like, you could tell she starts to like him, and then by the next morning she's like, no, fucking hate death. And I'm just like, oh, really? It just felt so cyclical, and like we were starting over at the beginning of each new chapter, and I'm just like, oh my god, your temper and your mood towards him is such a roller coaster. And I'm like, and it's getting predictable, and it's boring. You're a boring roller coaster. I don't know if that's ever happened. So yeah, anyway. Next I have The Big Book of Blooms. This is by Yuval Zamir. This is another like plant book, if you couldn't tell. This is like a nonfiction children's book. But I'm super excited when I got it, like when I like received it, because I did order it. I received it. It's a really good smell too. Like it smells like a new children's book. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like fancy paper and just, ugh. Okay. But it makes me want the other books in this series. What does a Venus flytrap eat? How strong is a giant water lily? Do flowers bloom at night? You'll find the answers to these thorny questions and many more inside, along with everything you need to know about how botanists are helping save the planet, and how you can grow your own garden. As we meet all kinds of colorful, carnivorous, weird, and wonderful flowering plants from around the world, you can play search and find the pictures too. Can you spot the special bulb? So that's what I'm excited about too. In all honesty, I loved the I Spy books growing up, and so I think this will be really fun. But also, it's just really cool art, and it just seemed like so much more than just like, this is a flower. Like, it goes into like each bit of the flower's anatomy, and like, as I just showed, like what flowers do bloom at night. So I'm excited for that, particularly for myself. I should have gotten another one for my niece. I also have decolonizing. Oh my god. Decolonizing the Body, healing body-centered practices for women of color to reclaim confidence, dignity, and self-worth by Kelsey Blackwell. I have this physically. I also have it as an audiobook through Libro. This was another recommended read for one of my classes that I didn't end up getting to. Mostly because I wasn't like clicking with the narrator at all. But I am still very much interested in it because I have it. So, and it was something like my professor was really into during her sabbatical, so I figured that, I mean, I'd give it a try. I figured, why not? So, and what does it mean to decolonizing the body? And I think that's part of the question. Powerful practices to help you slow down, listen to your body, and heal. As a woman of color, you are more likely to experience oppression, discrimination, and physical or sexual violence in your lifetime. In addition, your family may have experienced generational trauma and systemic racism going back for centuries. This old and new trauma can manifest in both the mind and body. However, there are ways you can begin to heal these wounds, build confidence in yourself and your abilities, and restore your powerful sense of self. So, yeah. And not much else to say about that one. And then the last two. This one I actually got around Halloween and wanted to read it around then, but I'll save it for next October, I guess. And that is Raising the Horseman by Serena Valentino. I believe this is Sapphic. The cover is gorgeous. Absolutely love this cover. It's published by Disney Hyperion. Every family has skeletons. Cass just happens to be headless. Oh, is she? Oh, okay. So I think this is a retelling of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which I think read at the end of the year last year in 2023 and found it really disappointing. So beware the horseman. The 200th anniversary of the Headless Horseman's legendary haunting of Sleepy Hollow is approaching, but Cat Van Tassel wants nothing to do with the town's superstitious celebrations. As a descendant of the original Katrina Van Tassel, Cat knows she's expected to live up to her ancestors' legacy by someday marrying her longtime boyfriend and running the prestigious family estate. But Cat dreams of a life outside Sleepy Hollow. Then Cat meets Isadora, a new girl in town who challenges Cat to re-examine those expectations, opens her eyes to the possibility that ghosts are real, and makes her question who she truly wants to be and to be with. When Cat is given the original Katrina's diary, a new legend begins to take shape, one that weaves together the past and the present in eerie ways. Can Cat uncover a 200-year-old secret and trace its shocking reverberations in her own life? In time to protect what she truly loves. So, yeah, I think it's Sapphic retelling. Interested in it. I've seen a couple retellings of the Headless of the, oh my god, I just want to keep calling it the Headless Horseman, but it's the Legends of Sleepy Hollow. I'm really curious about it. This one seems a little YA for me, but I still kind of I'm still very curious about it. So, we'll see. If you have any recommendations for that, please leave them down below. I'm very curious. And then the last one I have for this book haul is What Feeds the Lake by J.C. Hemstreet. I thought this cover was absolutely gorgeous. This is horror, which I'm not feeling right now, but you know, it'll come up, I'm sure. Welcome to the Artist's Retreat at Pitch Lake. Each year, the infamous art psychologist, Dr. Layden Kane opens his mountain estate for 4 aspiring artists for a winter term unlike any other. Alumni of the program have gone on to illustrious careers in the art world and beyond, yet very little is known about Dr. Crane or his unique teaching methods. Desperate to escape an artless future and troubled past, Callan Lark is reluctantly drawn into this year's program, and to the mercurial Professor Kane, not Crane. But shortly after arriving at Pitch Lake, a strange disturbance begins to occur. Hauntings that seem conjured from the students' worst nightmares and visits from peculiar neighbors, despite the isolation of the mountain. I don't know if I want to go on. Just as the snow traps the artists at the estate, they discover the truth of the professor's methods and the reason why he chose each of them for this year's retreat. Kane's arcane curriculum comes with one small asterisk. There are monsters lurking in the lake that call their fears like sirens. And Callan and the other artists will have to do everything in their power not to end up in its cold depths too. So, yeah, I'm like cold and that kind of got me colder. So I'm really curious about it. I hear it's really good. So, yeah. So those, I'm not lifting these up. Those are that's my book haul for last book haul of 2024. Thank you so much for letting me know what your thoughts are. I don't know why I'm talking like this. So that is my book haul for my last book haul for the 2024. Please let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know your thoughts. Please no spoilers. Otherwise, is there anyone in particular that you're looking forward to reading? Otherwise, let's go. If you're not feeling like answering, let's go ahead and put, I feel like there's like a decent amount of, let's put either a plant emoji or a bone emoji, because I feel like there's plants and death in here quite often. So yeah, otherwise, thank you for your patience with me, thank you for your support, and I will hopefully see you in another video very soon. Cheers.